Today on the show, I talk about the many directors of S.H.I.E.L.D. Hello and welcome to the show with issues. I'm Auram, and yesterday, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was taken out of hiatus with a brand new, exciting episode. So I thought I would take this opportunity to talk about the many directors of the organization over the years of Marvel's comic book continuity. Some of these might surprise you, especially seeing as a lot of them are already established in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Let's get started. So before I get into the long list of executive directors of S.H.I.E.L.D., let me explain exactly what that title means. The director is traditionally the head of S.H.I.E.L.D., and as such has access to all of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s files, controls high-level ops, and sends agents out on missions. Typically, the director will assign higher-level agents to lead a team of lower-level agents, like in Season 1 of the S.H.I.E.L.D. show, where we see Agent Coulson and his team go on top-secret missions for the current director, Nick Fury. Alright, to the list. The first director, which many people aren't aware of, was actually not Nick Fury. It was actually a man named Rick Stoner, who, at the time, was the head of the CIA. Not much is known about him other than the fact that he was the first head of S.H.I.E.L.D. before being killed in combat by Hydra during World War II. The next director of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the more well-known director, Nick Fury. Nicholas Joseph Fury became the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. after the board of directors contacted him and was eventually fully offered the position by Tony Stark, Iron Man. Fury ran S.H.I.E.L.D. for a while and was able to remain a very present and powerful being in the Marvel Universe for a very long time, thanks to the Infinity Formula, a serum that basically slowed his aging process. This was actually addressed in a recent crossover event, Original Sin. Fury unwillingly stepped down from his position as director when Hydra launched an assault on the organization which left it in shambles. Shortly after this, in Fury's absence, Sharon Carter took up the reins and became director. Agent 13 is most commonly known as an associate of Captain America. In fact, after her turn as director, she was designated S.H.I.E.L.D. liaison to Captain America. This was around the time of Ed Brubaker's Captain America run, where the Winter Soldier was introduced. Like I said, her reign was short-lived, as it was only temporary to fill the hole in Fury's absence. Maria Hill is probably the second most known director of S.H.I.E.L.D. After Nick Fury went into hiding because of the events of Secret War, a covert assault on Latveria, Maria Hill was appointed director of S.H.I.E.L.D. but not publicly. It became publicly known around the time of the Superhuman Registration Act, which she was a major supporter of. Maria Hill revealed to Tony Stark that she didn't feel she was up to the task of being director, and told Stark that only he or Nick Fury himself could truly run the organization. Shortly after the conclusion of Civil War, she stepped down to allow Tony Stark to become director. At this point, S.H.I.E.L.D. was a very convoluted organization and needed a new director. This would come in the form of Tony Stark, who, as a huge supporter of the Superhuman Registration Act, basically turned it into a police force to take down rogue superheroes who wouldn't comply with the law. His term as director was pretty well received and lasted for almost the entirety of what I like to refer to as the classic but not classic Age of Marvel. I'm pretty much just referring to everything from the Avengers Disassembled arc of Avengers and the Fear Itself crossover event. Without getting into too much detail, the Skrulls infected Tony's armor, which turned him against everyone and painted him in a horrible light with the public. This caused the end of his responsibility as director. This is when the dark reign of Norman Osborn was fully realized. While not technically a director of S.H.I.E.L.D., Norman Osborn created Hammer, which is essentially S.H.I.E.L.D. but with a different name. The government also disbanded the Avengers and gave him control of them as well, creating his own Dark Avengers. Osborn also found evidence to prove that Tony Stark was responsible for the entirety of the Skrull invasion. The Iron Patriot ushered in an era of chaos for the heroes of the world, but was eventually manipulated by Loki to create a siege on Asgard, which was hovering above Broxton, Oklahoma at the time. Osborn, with his team of Dark Avengers and Loki's cabal, assaulted Asgard, causing death and destruction. Norman was publicly revealed to be the mastermind of the siege when images of him basically going insane as the Green Goblin were shown to the world. Following the events of Siege and Osborn's fall, the government offered Steve Rogers the opportunity to be head of security of the United States, which basically just means director of a non-existent S.H.I.E.L.D. He accepted with one condition: he would get to run things his way. His first and most notable act as director was to remove the Registration Act. This is pretty much the only reason Steve became director, except his awesome new outfit. His costume in Cap 2 is actually heavily based on this design, which makes sense seeing as that movie is very ingrained in S.H.I.E.L.D. After the Serpent War, Cap decided to reactivate S.H.I.E.L.D. once and for all and appointed Daisy Johnson as the director. Daisy Johnson, also known as Quake, had a short term as director. She eventually abused her power by sending the Secret Avengers to kill the head of AIM and was suspended indefinitely, with Maria Hill taking her place as director. It's also worth mentioning that there are a few lesser-known directors, which I can't really go into much, mostly because it's unclear on whether or not they were directors or just major agents. Among these were Dum Dum Dugan and G.W. Bridge. Dugan, I believe, had a very short-lived reign as director, and Bridge just seems to be a very high-level agent. Now, I doubt the Marvel Cinematic Universe will have this many directors around, but with there already having been 2 directors, it definitely shows promise. Especially since they got Phil Coulson to be director. It just shows that they're not afraid to do something different and stray from the comics, seeing as Coulson hasn't been director of S.H.I.E.L.D. yet in 616. I imagine he will at some point, though, seeing as they're pushing his character lately. continuity, even with him being the main character of the current S.H.I.E.L.D. series. But today, in current continuity, Maria Hill remains director of S.H.I.E.L.D. and everything has gone back to being pretty simple with S.H.I.E.L.D. It remains the peacekeeping, super-secret organization that it originally was. So since I didn't put out a show last week, we've got 2 weeks worth of news. Surprisingly though, there still isn't a lot. Probably the biggest thing to come out of those 2 weeks is the announcement of a possible third show in the CW's DC TV universe. For those of you that don't know, this includes Arrow and The Flash. The supposed show will star Brandon Routh as the Atom, with Victor Garber as Dr. Martin Stein, Wentworth Miller as Captain Cold, and Katie Lotz as an unknown character. Katie Lotz's possible involvement is interesting for reasons that I won't get into. DC also showed off Jason Momoa as Aquaman, which I personally think looks horrible, but other people like it, so yay for them. On Marvel's side of things, we, as always, got a bunch of new Secret Wars titles. Links to those in the description. We also got a look at Hot Toys' Hulk figure for Age of Ultron, which is actually kind of underwhelming, especially compared to the Thanos one they showed off a couple weeks ago. So this month all around will be a pretty small month for me, so I can prepare my wallet for the onslaught that's going to be May when Secret Wars hits. That being said, I'll still be picking up 5 titles today, including Avengers issue 42, Spider-Woman issue 5, and all new Hawkeye issue 1. I'm really excited for both Avengers and Spider-Woman. Time Runs Out is coming to a close, and Jess is getting a snazzy new outfit, so that's always fun. As always, here's the rest of my list and the stuff from Marvel and DC. And that's it. This is probably the longest show so far, and the topic actually took me a while to figure out. I wanted something related to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or Inhumans, but just couldn't figure out what. Anyway, remember to check back this week for another show with reviews, where I talk about some of the comics I got today. Thanks for watching, and next time I get a snazzy new outfit.